Hey Internet, this is Gunter with MiniMishaps, and today we are collaborating on a random character generated random campaign.
Random.
Random. Pause for the intro to play. Okay. So, we are hanging out with Cosmos Goddess at the Frybox64 office remote studio location. And today we're going to be doing a little session with 4 randomly generated characters that were in various videos that we made. I think I may only have done the one random character as an actual video. But we've got 4 characters. They're the accidental Planeteers. And we're going to also have it so that we randomly switch who is running as the DM or GM. And I'm going to start as the GM, but before I do that, I'm going to turn it over to Frybox64.
Hey there, fans of Murder and Mayhem! Welcome back to Frybox64 Productions. I am the grumpiest of cat moms, Frybox64, and today we have a special treat for you. So remember a while back when I did the randomly generated D&D character where we created everything randomly? You remember Philippe Scout? Put him over there. Well, he now has a friend. Actually, he has several friends, and they're called the Accidental Planeteers. So what happened is, Gunter from MiniMishaps Games and I created, between the two of us, 3 more randomly generated D&D characters, and we thought it would be fun to play a session, maybe even an entire campaign, with these 4 horribly broken characters and see how far we get before we absolutely die. So, without further ado, let's introduce our characters!
Alright, my 2 Planeteers are Appy Hardcode, who is a Virite, which means he's a living piece of code that's inhabited a usable body for such a thing, was born of the gods, and so therefore is also a demigod, so a Virite demigod, Outlander, Forester, and also a Warlock of the Fathomless, so the deep ocean, but the coding character is going to be our air Planeteer. Next we had Real News of Unsoth, and his friends call him Evan. He is a Triton, shipwright, paladin of Nanshi, which means he's a fish person that goes onto boats out of the water to fix the boats. But also is a paladin of a sea goddess. He has friends in low places, and in general is a very unorthodox paladin of the ocean. So those are my 2 characters. Frybox64.
So Philippe Scout, he is my Firbolg sorcerer. He is of the Clockwork Soul archetype. He was raised an urchin, not necessarily on the streets, but ran in with a group of thieves. Rather naive fella, and he just wants to prove to everybody that he can be just as naturey as everybody else, even though everything tends to go all clockwork around him. And then our other character, which we will put up here as well, Isanobu Tlenexti, and he is a feral tiefling and is a monk. Now, he doesn't have a class yet, or specialization for a monk yet, because he's not high enough level yet. But fun fact about him, he has the Mole Master Aristocrat background, and after looking that up, apparently he came from a well-to-do family in the heavily guarded city of Mole Master, and apparently his family made moonshine for the higher-ups because he's proficient in brewer's tools. So, and fun fact, even though the mini we'll be using has both hands, he only has one hand. I didn't have an event rolled for this explaining why he has one hand, so I'm guessing he was just born that way. So, that's super interesting. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started.
Okay, Internet, we got started. We got our 4 characters that fell into the world. First was the Tiefling, and then the Triton, and then the Firbolg, and then the Virite. And they kind of went in descending order of grace. The Tiefling landed normal, superhero pose, and the Triton just sort of sat down like it was the bottom of a slide coming out of the sky portal, which, remember, deposits people into the Neocap. And then the poor Firbolg meteor face planted a furrow into the ground, and then as they were trying to get up, the Virite's metal body crashed into them and they both splatted. So they made introductions, met each other, and then heard the sounds of fighting, came over a little hill to find an orc in sort of a monk garb fighting 4 Tigrins, 4 Catkin barbarians, and dispatching them pretty readily, but the Firbolg ran to try to jump into the fray and rolled the crit fail. That was the time to do the first DM-GM switch, because then on our program we're going to be switching who is running the world every time there's a critical roll, a 20 or a 1 rolled on a d20. So we are there, we're in the first combat, first encounter, and we're ready to switch GMs.
Right. So, in the roughly 5 minutes that I was sitting in the GM chair, we had the mysterious orc monk, aka Slicejaw, one of my old characters' friends from this world. He took out the rest of the Hungry Dark, or the little things that were fighting him. Philippe proceeded to punch himself in the face, and after clearing out all of the bad guys, Slicejaw is like, "Hey, so hi guys, how many of you are adventurers? Raise your hands." Sound of crickets. How many of you have been in a fist fight before? At least 3 people raised their hands. How many of you have even punched a person before? I think I might have stabbed someone once. So after determining that these people are probably not very well suited to be adventurers, Slicejaw hands them a map, and he's like, "I will tell you about this Adventurers Academy. I will mark it on your map for..." Actually, you don't have a map. Here you go. Gives them a map with the marked academy location on it. And then everybody's rolling insights to see, should we go with Slicejaw or should we go to the academy? Everybody's rolling pretty good, thinking, maybe we should go to the academy. Philippe, on a crit fail, is like, "I'm going to go with Slicejaw! I must prove myself!"
Philippe's got both of the critical fails.
And everybody's just kind of looking at him like, okay. So now we will hand the GM chair back over to Gunter. So after our adventurers decided on their crit fail that they were going to join Slicejaw right here, I'm feeling with my fingers because I can't really see what I'm doing here. Since we decided to join Slicejaw, we had a brief encounter with a dying centaur who was killed by the Hungry Dark that he was fighting, but just as he put the killing blow on his last little glob monster he was fighting, and our tiefling Isanobu here comes up to see if he's okay. The centaur grabs his shoulder and utters one phrase, "Ogma provides," which those of you who have played in Gunter's universe, you'll understand what that means. So then we traveled on to the monastery, or where the monastery should have been. Instead of a monastery, there was a rectangle of black goop. Raw, hungry, dark material. They got to the monastery first. So our intrepid adventurers go up to the place where the monastery should be, and Slicejaw pokes the black goop, and it does like a kind of thing, which causes Philippe to bounce, cannonballing face first into the goop, thinking he's going to bounce in it like a trampoline, but he just gets sucked right down into it. And so our party debates back and forth, what are we gonna do? We've gotta go down and get him. So Slicejaw's like, I have my quarterstaff that has this metal on it that the Hungry Dark is afraid of. I will go first and I will lead us down into the murky depths. And so, one by one, in this specific line order here that I am putting up for you, they go down into the Hungry Dark square. And then find that there is New bottom! And they are falling through open air, falling after Philippe, who lands on his feet, surprisingly, and catches Slicejaw. And everybody lands pretty well except for Slicejaw, who lands in Philippe's arms, princess carrying style. So then they're like, oh look, there is a stream underneath where the monastery should be. Should we follow it? And they're like, yes, we should. And then they're like, should we go east, where it is flowing to, or west, where it's coming from? And we're like, we're going west. So we're walking into the stream, and we found this cavern area, which has a bunch of little wet rocks where rivulets of water is coming out of, and that's where we're at right now. We still haven't rolled a crit fail, but that too, the Slicejaw roll came really close. Alright, so we are actually going to call that quits for our first part of our randomness campaign here. So we wound up locating this wall of ropes. And basically, it looked like a very tightly woven rope wall in the back of an otherwise normal cavern. And after poking and prodding it a little bit, we found out that it was kind of like an item and messenger sending service for the Rope Elf City. And basically the Hungry Dark had tried to replicate that. And was trying to make its own little rope elf technology and stuff. Which means there is a traitor in the midst of the rope elves. And we stopped just before Philippe offered to throw himself upon the ropes to be taken wherever it was they were going. So thankfully that did not happen. But hopefully we will see you all again next time for the part 2 of this lovely adventure. If you like what you saw today, feel free to hit like and subscribe. Share us around with your other D&D friends. I know you probably got somebody out there who'd like to see a little bit of a D&D campaign. I've been Frybox64. That over there is Gunther from MiniMishaps. And we will see you all again someday soon for more murder, mayhem, and maiming. Bye, everybody!
Okay, my 2 Planeteers are the... I don't even remember their names now. Take 2. Beep beep! It's my movie song for I messed up.
Thanks, Gunther. So my characters are, you've seen him before, the myth, the legend, Philippe Scout, Firbolg Sorcerer, and there's a cameo by Minnie. There's a cameo from Kitty Cat Minnie there.